What's up, everyone? Gonna be talking about those catchers. You gotta draft one whether you want to or not. And there's one that's really good, so Dustin, you start off talking about him.
Buster Posey, league of his own in terms of the best catcher. He's the only guy you're getting excited about in the first 3 rounds or so if you're gonna take a catcher. If you don't get him, you're waiting.
And if you're waiting, we got a bunch of guys blocked into Tier 2. The ADP, besides Lucroy, is between like 70 and 100 really, so as Dustin said, you're definitely waiting. One guy that we like though is Gattis. He's with the Houston Astros. He's going to get a ton of at-bats because he's going to do some DHing, and he's got a lot of power. I mean, you remember that stretch he had last year where he was hitting home runs, it seemed like every other at-bat. So definitely like him. Yan Gomes is a guy that I definitely want to talk about. I'm going to take a little credit, or Dustin and I will take a little bit of credit. Dustin, I, and Mike, or all of Fantasy Back Doc, we'll take credit because we've liked this guy before. It's cool to like this guy, and he's finally been slowly climbing up. I think this year could be a breakout year. Yan Gomes is definitely a guy you should be targeting in your league. He's going to get you a decent average and some pop, definitely like that. And the other one that's getting a little disrespected is Matt Wieters. Remember when everyone was overdrafting him whenever he was a prospect? Then he actually did really good last year, but he got hurt. So now nobody cares about him all of a sudden. It boggles the mind. Matt Wieters is an amazing catcher to get late, so get Gomes or Wieters or follow our rankings. Go ahead, Dustin.
Tier 3 still a decent amount of upside here. You know, William Rosario is a guy that we really thought he was going to take bigger steps last year. Didn't quite happen. Still had a solid year, but only 25 years old. You got to think there's still a big upside there. Stephen Voigt's another guy I want to talk about real quick with Oakland. Make sure you check his eligibility. He might not start with catcher eligibility, but he is going to catch for them. In limited at-bats last year, pretty solid. You know, I'd like to see what he can do with a full season of at-bats. And then Brian McCann, I did just want to talk about him briefly. As far as ADP goes, he's getting drafted ahead of a lot of guys that we have in front of this list and higher up on this list. McCann's just not that exciting, and he was so bad last year. The power was still there, but, you know, 230, I mean, it's not that hard to find a catcher that can hit 230 with a little bit of power. So, you know, obviously he could, you know, come back and be the McCann of old, but a little bit older, that worried me. That worried me.
So, Dustin, you like doubles when we talk about rankings. What do I always talk about?
Pedigree.
Yeah, pedigree. Here's a guy. So in Tier 4, we got a couple. You know, Russell Martin, Ramos. We all know about them. The guy that I want to target though is Mike Zunino. First pedigree. He was the first pick of the Seattle Mariners a couple years ago, and you know what? He's got the power. 22 bombs, and the kid could certainly even eclipse that. I feel this year. Here's the problem. He batted below 200. So pedigree for power good, pedigree for average bad, hence why he's ranked here. But to Dustin's point, if he ends up batting that 230, he's going to hit way more home runs than McCann will, etc. So he's an interesting guy to target, especially in 2 catcher leagues. I like him.
All right, now last tier, I got 2 people to talk about. Cervelli's the first one to talk about with Pittsburgh. He's another guy that I think seems to be getting a little bit overhyped for my liking. I mean, there is some potential there. I mean, I guess, you know, maybe some of the experts will prove us wrong, but I'm not necessarily buying him in terms of where he's getting drafted. I think there's some upside. I think he's worth drafting as a game in the later rounds, but I'm not sold. And then Derek Norris, you know, here's a guy that, you know, a guy that you can get late that has some power potential. You know, only 26 years old. You know, won't really know what his ceiling is just yet. So he's a guy that we like late in terms of a younger gamble to take a gamble.
New FST shirt, old FST shirt. Go onto the site, hit up the forums, check out all other tiers and rankings.
Ooh!
Home run!
That was pretty good.
A Brady style.
FST 2015 promo code for FanDuel.